The next Stronghold game has finally been announced. Stronghold 4, the first numbered release into the mainline series since the third, back when I was still in high school, and the first to return to the classic setting of medieval England since, well, the same time. Stronghold 4 was just announced during the PC gaming show, but the trailer isn't all I've got for you today. I've been playing a demo and capturing footage all week, and I've got some thoughts. Oh, and I should also let you know that you can play this too. The demo is available on June 23rd, so just a couple of weeks away, so mark your calendars. It'll be an updated version of this one that I've had access to, with some bug fixes and further optimizations. So, Stronghold 4, aka Stronghold Unreal, the game that Firefly has been teasing for a while now. It's being built in Unreal Engine 5, a change from all earlier 3D Stronghold games. And I know some of you may recoil at hearing that, but stick around until later in the video when we talk about the technical performance, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. The game has been in the works in one way or another since 2022, with full production going on for over 3 years at this point, with a team that's been growing in size since its inception. It's releasing into Steam Early Access later this year, and I've been told it's planning to be there for around 6 months, though it could potentially be extended if need be. Regardless, half a year is a refreshingly short time frame for an early access launch, and fingers crossed we'll be getting a full release in Q1 or Q2 of next year. I'll be reviewing the game when it launches both into early access and 1.0, so subscribe if you want to be notified about those videos when they go live. The initial release will include the full narrative campaign, starring Ben Starr and Samantha Burt, names and voices that you've almost certainly heard before. Stronghold 4 is set before the original game, so you can expect to see a few familiar faces like Sir Longarm and the Rat, who are both in this demo. And if I can be bold and make a prediction, the new protagonist, Penryn, is 100% your dad from the original game, and the campaign will end with him being killed by the wolf. Calling it now, this guy's your dad. We'll circle back and see if I'm right later this year. Early access will also come with a single player skirmish trail and AI skirmish with 8 unique CPU opponents. Once the game launches in full, there's also going to be online multiplayer, an economic campaign, and a co-op trail. You'll love to see it. Stronghold 4 takes us back to the classic setting of medieval England, and visually it absolutely evokes the original, better than any 3D Stronghold before it. Am I crazy to say that this looks pretty great, like genuinely, no asterisks? I mean, yeah, it's not perfect, like my main qualms come down to the style and the legibility of units and buildings, which are lacking especially compared to the 2D sprites of the original. Right now it can be tough to quickly recognise what buildings are what, and troops just don't have that instant legibility of the earlier games. But this is stuff that can be improved, and overall I think Firefly have landed on something really solid here. The environments in particular look great, and are a massive upgrade from the last game, as do the effects, the building destruction, and weather effects. I'm interested in hearing what you guys think here. As we all know, 3D Stronghold games have always been a bit divisive, but I'm pretty happy with this, I'll be honest. Technically, the demo ran really well for me. No bugs, no crashes, and solid performance on max settings. I'd say the only issue was some pretty gnarly shadow pop-in on all but the highest settings. And you know, I'm used to the top-end graphics settings in Unreal 5 games to be basically never worth it, but here going to the epic setting removes all the pop-in I noticed, and it didn't really take my performance much at all. You can see here the difference between low, medium, high, and epic, and I think if you can, it's worth maxing it out. The only thing I noticed is that there does seem to be some sort of bug where the cloud shadows don't appear on the epic setting. I think it's still worth it for the draw distance and detail benefits though, and I'm sure this will be fixed pretty soon. It may even be fixed by the time you play the demo. The only other kind of visual anomaly I discovered in my time was this weird sun reflection. It's clearly just tied to the camera somehow and interacting in a bizarre way on this lake. Again, I'm sure this will be fixed as well, but I thought I should mention it. So first up I went with the economic mission, which doubles as the onboarding tutorial, as it teaches you the basics of managing your castle and exploring Stronghold 4's new mechanics. It starts you off with a basic settlement and takes you through building out the base resource trees and castle management, and ends by setting up more complex chains like bread until you reach the victory condition of housing a certain number of peasants. Throughout the mission you'll also fight off very small numbers of bandits as you grow your castle, and are slowly introduced to those new mechanics I mentioned. and let's talk about a few of these now, for what little we see of them in this demo. Events aren't exactly new to the series, but the way they're presented here is. They show us these little cards and change every in-game day, which is 1 minute. They're things like, "The peasants spotted a one-legged crow, sire. This is a bad omen." And then they hit you with a -2 popularity debuff. I like the idea of this system, and I really like the artwork that goes along with it, but I feel it's pretty limited right now. Having events change every minute just feels way too quick, and I almost think they should vary in length and not be based around in-game days, because there's no day-night cycle anyway. It's just always daytime. Another new mechanic is the introduction of a new resource, Honor. This is gathered by building and upgrading houses of different tiers, and you use it for training troops and upgrading your castle tier. And now it's this latter addition that I'm not sure I'm a fan of just yet. I'll need to experience it in a more complete version of the game to say for sure, but the idea of it just doesn't feel all that strongholdy to me. How it works is that there are 10 ranks, and each one unlocks new buildings and troops. So at the start of the game, you can't build certain structures or train certain units until you reach those levels. But what I've always loved about Stronghold is that you were always given the choice of how you wanted to approach building your castle and in what order. This ranking system feels quite prescriptive, and I'm not sure that I like it. Still, I'll reserve judgment until I play more. If you can still do things like buy higher tier weapons and such from the market to train troops without needing to rank up, then that might influence my opinion. For now, we'll wait and see. Overall though, I did enjoy the scenario. It is basic and doesn't do much to differentiate itself for what is your first experience of an entirely new game, but it's just a demo and that's okay. It's better than just dropping the trailer and nothing else, like most companies do. I do wish it was available without the tutorials or win condition, just so we could have a cozy scenario to enjoy to whatever extent we wanted, especially for a second or third run through, but that's a minor gripe, and I still had fun with it the few times I went through it. Next, it was time for the combat mission, which is a siege defense against the rat. You start with a nearly complete castle, and after a short while, he'll start to periodically send more and more units at you until a final wave sees the end of the scenario. And side note, the rat is looking particularly ghoulish here, which I'm a big fan of. I quite like this design. Same with Sir Longarm too, and the Squire from the previous mission. Though the cutscene is a little rough and could use a bit more work. Anyway, the scenario is a little repetitive, but it's a good way to get a brief taste of siege combat. Like the other one though, there's not many unique elements here, so I'm hoping that next time I get my hands on Stronghold 4, it won't have any trouble justifying itself as the first numbered entry in the series in nearly 15 years. I will say though, something I like a lot about this is the map. This is some crazy terrain and in a really good way. I love the height disparity and visually it just looks really impressive. And if this is what they have just for the demo, I'm excited to see what Firefly are cooking up for the campaign, skirmish, and co-op trails later on. Especially the co-op trails, because they cooked with the ones in Crusader Definitive, so I'm hoping that they knock it out of the park with these ones too. While there's obviously a lot more to see of Stronghold 4 in the coming months, I think this demo is a solid way to kick things off. The two scenarios give a good, if brief, taste of what the game will offer, and I'm glad Firefly have a strong foundation here to start incorporating some player feedback, both now and throughout the early access release, whenever that may be. The fact that it's just a demo hasn't left me too worried about what the final game will deliver in terms of fresh mechanics and gameplay options compared to previous entries, but it is true that there isn't a whole lot here right now. As I said, I'll reserve judgment until I get my hands on a more complete version. Stronghold 4 is available to wishlist on Steam right now, and adding it to yours is a great and easy thing you can do to support the game at no cost. So if you like the look of it and want to know when it becomes available, there is a link in the description. Don't forget the demo is going to be open to everyone in just a couple of weeks, so if you do give it a try, let me know what you think. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts. Alright, thanks for watching. It was just a quick one. A bigger video is coming in the next week or two, so